Okay, Thompson, you're on your own.
Really? Thank you.
We very much appreciate your joining us, gentlemen. As you heard on the last panel, we will have 5-minute opening statements to leave us the maximum amount of time for questioning, and I'd like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. John DeCamp, who is sitting with Mr. Trochmann and Mr. Fletcher. As counsel, you're welcome, sir. We'll begin with the listing in the witness list as circulated with Mr. John Trochmann from Knoxon, Montana. Mr. Trochmann, the floor is yours.
Greetings from Montana. It is said that this opportunity to address the Senate has arisen out of the Oklahoma tragedy. We wholeheartedly denounce the deplorable act of violence. We have and will continue to assist in any manner to apprehend all persons that may have planned and or carried out that dastardly deed at whatever level they may hide. At the present time, we view the militia movement as a giant neighborhood watch. The movement is made up of a cross-section of Americans from all walks of life with a singular mandate which is public and overt: the return to the Constitution of the United States and 2-year oath to defend that Constitution. The Declaration of Independence gives excellent insight as to why people feel the need to group together and participate in militia patriot organizations. This document speaks for itself once again, as it did over 200 years ago, when flagrant injustice continues out of control by oppressive public servants. We request that this document be entered into the permanent record as a partial support document to our statements. The following are just a few examples as to why Americans are becoming more and more involved in militia patriot organizations. The high office of the presidency has been turned into a position of dictatorial oppression through the abusive use of executive orders and directives, thus leaving Congress stripped of its authority. When the president overrules Congress by executive order, representative government fails. When government defines human beings as a biological resource under the United Nations Ecosystem Management Program, maintaining that state and local laws are barriers to the goals of federal government. When the average citizen must work for half of each year just to pay their taxes, while billions of our tax dollars are forcibly sent to bail out the banking elite. While our fellow Americans are homeless, starving, and without jobs, Congress wonders why the constituents get upset. When government allows our military to be ordered and controlled by foreigners under presidential order, allowing foreign armies to train on our soil, allowing our military to label caring patriots as the enemy, then turns their tanks loose on U.S. citizens to murder and destroy, or directs a sniper to shoot a mother in the face while holding her infant in her arms, you bet your constituents get upset. When government refuses to hold hearings on government-sanctioned abuses and whitewashes those hearings that are held, when government tampers with or destroys evidence needed to solve crime and now considers the very idea of infringing upon the people's right of freedom of speech, assembly, and the right to redress after having destroyed the 2nd and 4th articles, how can senators and representatives ever question the loyalty of concerned Americans without first cleaning their own house? Quote, "The law perverted and the police powers of the state perverted along with it. The law not only turns from its proper purpose, but made to follow a totally contrary purpose. The law becomes the weapon of every kind of greed. Instead of checking crime, the law itself becomes guilty of the evils it's supposed to pursue." Unquote. Frenchman Frederick Bastiat, 1884. We the people have about had all we can stand of the twisted, slanted, biased media of America, who take their signals from a few private, covert, special interest groups bent on destroying what's left of the American way. We respectfully request that you rely upon your own investigation, steering clear of the media and their rumor gossip mills of disinformation. Although most everyone in the movement has assembled under the First Amendment, freedom of speech and freedom of peaceably assemble, we have not forgotten what our founding fathers have stated about the Second. Former President James Madison, a well-regulated militia composed of the body of the people trained to arms is the best and most natural defense of a free country. Former Vice President Elbridge Gerry, I ask, what is the purpose of the militia? To offset the need of large standing armies, the bane of liberty. Why would he call the armed forces the bane of liberty? Who is the Pentagon waging activities against active campaigns to win over the populace, and why? Why does Military Civil Affairs Manual 4110 seem to be so applicable in America today? Paraphrasing, steps necessary for the overthrow of a nation. May God be with America as he watches over the shoulders of you who write her laws. A nation can survive its fools and even the ambitious, but it cannot survive treason from within. America has nothing to fear from patriots maintaining vigilance. She should, however, fear those that would outlaw vigilance. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trochmann. Mr. Fletcher.
Well, I'm going to just stand for in the interest of time so that we can get into some other more pressing concerns. I'm not going to give any type of an introductory comment at this point in time, other than to point out that what we must look at is the overriding important point being what is the concern of the actually several million American citizens that are involved with patriot groups. And those concerns basically is an out-of-control government, an overly oppressive government, a government that utilizes a secret shadow means by which most of you or some of you that are not even involved with it have no idea what money is being spent for in our black covert funding. So we'll kind of get into that. I want to skip and pass my time on.
Well, Mr. Fletcher, perhaps your time might be used to specify some of the comments which you made this morning on Good Morning America, ABC, if you would, about a second bomb being planted at Oklahoma City, or evidence of a second assailant, second conspiracy?
Yes. Typically, what I might do, again, is a matter of so we can cover enough things that will also be important. This is a report that's been put together by a couple of people. One of them is an former FBI agent, formerly with a $22 million budget and 700 people working under him. Had been with the FBI for some probably 25 years. His determination, along with many experts, is that there was a minimum of at least one, if not two more explosions simultaneously within the building. Additionally, we have information that John Doe number 2 has been located. He has a name, we know who he is, where he is, and that he is also of a foreign descent. And for some reason, the FBI is steering away from this gentleman. That needs to be looked into more definitively, and I would offer this report, which I will leave with you folks. This also covers the type of bomb that most likely was utilized inside the building. The idea that it was a huge fertilizer bomb, there was no residue to speak of, no caustic fumes which automatically would come from that bomb if it was singularly placed. Additionally, the idea, according to experts, is the idea of that bomb directively destroying the building as it did is absolute baloney. So I'll just leave this, and then we can get into, again, the answers and questions relative to other events of government corruption and being out of control. I do want to leave as much time as we can on that, which includes the militarization of local police offices all over the United States, including the supplying of armored personnel vehicles all over America to smaller police stations, which is ridiculous. I'd like to pass my time.
Thank you, Mr. Fletcher. Mr. Adams.
I'd like to thank the body here today for inviting us. I think this is a very important time in history that this body has brought the militia to speak here today. I think it's important that we have the opportunity to talk to one another, to air our views, and to get to know one another. And I hope that the individual states of the militias across the country will also do the same thing with the leaders in their states. As I sat here this morning and heard the testimony, and I certainly cannot address each piece individually,